That's how you remember.
All right.
It is go time. Musty Wargamers episode 11, season 8. How's everybody doing?
We're at 8-11.
Season
8-11.
8.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
8.
That's right.
Yeah.
We got
Good.
three people in the house watching, it looks like already. So maybe
that reminds
maybe
me.
they'll chime
in. As the... it hasn't showed up yet. Is we gone live?
Got GM Cody in the house.
Cool.
There we go.
All right.
Finally. It's showing.
And we got Clark. Hey, Clark.
Hey, Clark.
And Stryker. Mel. Hello, fellas. All right. Well, I think Tim is coming tonight. He seems to be running a little late, and so we'll just let him in when he gets here. And so we got a couple of topics tonight. I'm going to let the folks I'll let Dan introduce his that he came up with the idea with, and I'll kind of introduce mine. But basically, one's going to be about paints and favorite paints and products, and then the other is going to be more about how you play your historical games, and Dan will go into more detail about it. Just thoughts on an interesting topic. And so, Rusty, and then we also got Chris in the house. Hey, Chris.
Yes.
Walkabout Games. And so, Rusty, what have you been up to, gaming, hobby-wise, and your Musty drink?
Well, gaming-wise, I did have a game of Lord of the Rings strategy battle.
Saw
Nice.
that. Yeah.
And it was horrible.
You didn't win, you're saying.
No, I was facing off against Legolas, Tauriel, and two other captains. He brought 4 different captains, basically 3 captains, and along with Legolas, and I just had my own one captain and my general of orcs, and it was against the woodland elves, and they were like,
Yeah.
it's like on the first turn, I lost, I think, 8 or 9 orcs on the very first turn.
Is it more that you're just kind of getting used to the rules?
Well, it was a cheese
dice
list I was facing off against. It was a tournament list that he was bringing. He wanted to test his tournament list, and it's like, oh, okay.
Is he a pretty experienced player?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He plays in tournaments and everything, so
Okay.
it's like, thanks a lot.
Well, sometimes you learn how to do things also, going up against people that are really good like that. So maybe that'll be interesting.
But yeah, it's like I knew that it's like, okay, I have no missile weapons until I get my ogres into my trolls into contact. So I was like, I had a troll drummer. He was going, and the orcs were like charging across the field. And it was like after 3 turns of withering fire, I finally got into grips with them, and I was killing elves like crazy.
Okay.
Basically, it's like 2 units of elves just suddenly disintegrated into nothingness. And all that was left was their captain and Legolas.
So what do you think of the rules system? I mean, you're somewhat new to the game, correct?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Not bad. I always tell people, it takes about 10 to 15 games playing something before you really figure out what's going on.
I know just a lot of people, though, will say they've been saying it for a long time that it's, GW's best system. And I mean, I know it has and they haven't really changed the basic system from when it came out in 2000, 2001. So it must be solid.
Yeah. That was pretty good. Kind of the fun part, though, was that Legolas was like, he was able to use his bow in combat, which
like in close range.
Yeah, so he has that special ability. So instead of going to fight with his sword if he wants to, he just chooses.
Keep shooting.
And he's shooting 3 arrows at you a turn.
That's awesome.
And so he killed off everybody that was around him. So he's standing there, and my troll picks up an elf and just goes, "Bowling for dollars." He had to keep using his fate points to prevent Legolas from getting hit or damaged, because I just hit him with a kill an elf by throwing an elf at him.
Oh wow!
So it was pretty cool. But eventually, he was like 3 break points. I was like 3 break points away from losing the game before I even came to grips with him. So by the time that happened, eventually he knocked off a few other ones, and he broke my army and rolled, and it's like game over type of thing. But it's like it is what it is. Did
you play a scenario or just kind of a points match thing, or?
It was a scenario. They rolled for what scenario it would be, and
okay.
We had to take an objective, and kill a captain.
Okay.
Of the opposing team, and his captain I secretly picked, and handed off to off to the side, and it's like, the captain I was trying to kill happened to be standing right next to the objective I needed to take. So I was like, twofer.
That works. Yeah.
Cool.
So you moved the troll over there or no?
Oh yeah. That was like straight. I sent 2 trolls right at the right at that captain and tried to take him out, but didn't work. No. But it was fun.
That was nice. You got a game in.
Yeah.
Did you play at the gaming store, or did you get to go to Smith's house?
I went to a new games shop up in Ankeny.
Okay.
All of the terrain and everything that used to be at the game shop that closed is all there now. So.
That's nice.
Yeah. So everything got moved over there.
Cool.
At least it's still around, but it's kind of a hole in the wall downtown Ankeny. So like parking really sucks. So.
Okay.
Okay. What I've been working on, I spent the last week printing and painting. Painting wise, I'll just show this first. I got another squad of 20 Death Guard painted up this week.
Nice.
Tactical squad, so they're all ready for rock and rolling.
Cool.
Taking objectives. Death Guard.
Nice.
Pre-heresy Death Guard, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And tonight I'll be working on, I have a bag of, they're sitting in a bag right now because I'm going to make a mess here and I don't want them getting splashed on. Jump Death Guard.
Oh, yeah.
So they got their little chain swords and their jump packs.
Okay.
So that's
deft jumpers.
Yeah. So they're sitting in the Ziploc because of this mess. I was just before we started the show. This is one piece I printed off this week, and I already got what I take is a mix of acrylic, apple barrel, what is this? Nutmeg brown, and black. Mix them together with some water, kind of make a dingy black brown
kind of a wash.
And I take pewter gray and I put it all over the model, and then I put that wash over it, and it gives that kind of a dirty look to it, which is all the buildings that you'll see that I've done already. That's what it is, and I'll go when that dries and I dry brush it.
Okay,
nice.
But this is heavy. There you go.
That's the large one.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, this took me a week to print this out.
How hollow is it?
Everything is hollow.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because usually you do.
This would be about 6 kilograms of resin if I did this solid.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. That is a beast.
Yeah, so I'll just put it down here because it's pretty heavy even.
What'd you mount it on?
It is. Let me take the part first. Basically, it's a piece of cardboard.
Okay. I didn't know if you had to use something super sturdy or what.
It's glued together.
Mm-hmm.
I had to glue this. This was 4 pieces that took about 20 hours a piece to do.
Wow.
And then I glued it together, and then I green stuffed into the cracks and everything. And then it's like I spent the last 2 days green stuffing because you got all the stonework.
Mm-hmm.
Put the green stuff on, and I got to mold around remold the stonework so it meshes up really nice. So that was a lot of work. But this is all hollow.
Okay.
So that's
nice.
Big old hollow cavities here. So.
Well, you could play whole game just on that one terrain piece.
Yeah. And I figured with these 2 pieces, if I don't want to have the big single piece, I can break it up into minor pieces.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's true. Right. Yeah, because you aren't going to fasten them down.
No, not these.
Yeah.
For storage wise, this would be kind of a.
That's true too. I hadn't thought of that.
It's like too big for just storing by itself.
Mm-hmm. I gotcha.
Once it's all together, I'll get it back together. There.
So is that from a different source than what you've been printing out?
The same source.
Okay.
I have another one about the same size I have to print.
Okay.
It took me probably 3 hours just to make the files so I could print them.
Oh, wow.
Setting them all up and then saving them and doing all that. And then once the ball got started, it's like I started burning through resin like crazy.
The pieces in it, Rusty, that are when you said they were separated and you were doing them in pieces, were they already in pieces when you purchased it?
Yeah, you had 2 options. If you did it FDM on a big plate like yours, you could do this bottom plate piece all as one. It has 2 options. It's like it has it cut up into pieces or it's solid. That's
really good that they do that because there's some people you can cut them up yourself, but it's like it requires different software and it's probably a bit more of a pain, I would imagine.
Yeah, if you have a big old printer, that can handle this whole thing, you could print this all as one piece.
Right.
And it would be fairly light because that stuff's fairly light to begin with compared to resin.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Cool deal. Well, so what about your Musty drink?
Well, let me put this off to the side. The Musty drink tonight is 40 Creek Barrel Select.
Nice. All right.
Oh,
very good.
I think somebody shared 40 Creek recently.
Yep. You might even see something interesting tonight coming up.
No way.
Yeah, that's cool. You said it's called Barrel Select?
Yeah, this is Barrel Select. It's got a nice little rich color to it. 40 Creek, and you have
Barrel Select.
Barrel Select. Yours is the big bottle.
I don't know that we've ever selected the same thing on the same night.
It's not like you guys only have like a three choices you're choosing from. That's crazy.
I have less than Rusty.
This is only a 750 liter, so yours must be 1.75.
Mine's the Costco size. It's 1.75 liter.
Yeah, yours is bigger.
Yeah.
Size matters.
That's what she...
All right. So what about you, Dan? What about any I know we talked about the bolt action game you had last time. Did you have another game since then, or?
Nope. During the winter, though, I have been getting together with my brother either Tuesday or Wednesday night, and we board game. And
nice.
So we're playing a Civil War board game, Hex and Counter thing. So that's good. And then otherwise, I've just been painting Confederates. I did finish up the last of the regiments in the Starter Army set, so I've got all 8 regiments done. Completely done, except they need flags. And then there's 8 cannon that come with it. I've got 4 of them completely done and based. And I'm about half done with the second for. And I just broke open the bag of, it comes with, is it 16? 16 cavalry.
Okay.
So I've just got, my bases finally came. So I got them sitting on there to see what I think. And then I'll start cleaning them up, and I always wash them too. I don't know, just seems like I have less trouble with paint chipping or rubbing off even when I'm handling them if I wash. I didn't used to wash my metal minis, but I do now.
Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, with the
Yeah.
resin, the release agents, and
Sometimes
all that
there's
kind of stuff.
and you can see sometimes different manufacturers or different batches. Sometimes they have a little bit like of a white. It looks like sort of a white powder.
Right.
So then basically I'll get those 16 done, and then I only need 12 dismounted cavalry to do, and then a battalion commander or 2 battalion commanders and a general. And basically,
Sweet.
I've got the starter army done. Still really loving it. I'm kind of been toying, and I'll probably just kind of for the months to come, I'll just keep while I'm in this groove. I'll kind of maybe just stick with just building this bigger, because I've got some more packs that I ordered a couple times when I needed some bases or something just to fill freight out.
Right.
But I'm enjoying this smaller scale so much that the other day I dug out my War Master minis to see about either that might be one of the next things, or I'll go back to my I'm
That's awesome.
pretty excited. I've got a huge pile of Bretonian, and these are the metal War Master, the old War Master ones.
That'd be an awesome project.
Yeah, so I might do that, or but really it's so much fun painting these little guys. I just like it. It's a fun
Well, if you enjoy it so much, I have more.
Just so everybody knows, Tim, I think Tim's trying to get in. He's having some computer problems, so he is
okay.
He kind of contacted us.
Somebody has to, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's cool.
Yeah, and then I had my rum and coke with my wife earlier during our evening happy hour, and that was my musty drink. And
cool.
So I'm going dry now.
I'll quickly do my.
I still got 2 packs of Union Advancing here, and I got 2 packs of the what's the famous Black Hat guys.
Oh, the Irish Brigade.
Yeah, so I got 2 packs of them.
Yeah,
nice.
Rusty's frozen on my screen, but I can hear him talking.
No, he's moving on mine.
Okay, it's frozen on mine, but you're good and I'm good. I don't know.
Okay, that's weird. He's good on mine, so I don't know.
He's been glitching a little bit on me.
I think he's just messing with you.
Probably. Well, he's just down the road.
Right.
I'm like Drax. I move so slow.
Yeah, it is. It's like Matrix.
Yeah.
I don't remember after the last show was when I think after the last show was when I had my Rumble Slam game, but I put it up on Facebook. Like on there. And so for gaming, I had a Rumble Slam game on the after the last show, and I've got actually a Rumble Slam game tomorrow.
Cool.
And so that's fun, and it's actually been so far so good. Like we're just kind of figuring out the rules, but it's actually a lot of fun. It's a funny game. It's like Blood Bowl. It's like it's kind of hilarious. Like
don't take it too seriously.
Yeah, it is a funny game. I played DBA on Tuesday, and I have to say that I probably played, even though I lost that game, I probably played my favorite game of DBA that I ever played ever on Tuesday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just really good. It was just really close. And I was the defender, which typically with my India army, I usually am. Part of it is my dice rolling, but part of it is just my agriculture level. I'm usually always the defender, and I actually put a lot of terrain like in the middle of the board and stuff, and it was just kind of a heavily, considering some of our topics, it's kind of funny. It was a heavily terrain focused game, and so it really fractured our armies a bit, like coming in between forest areas and stuff. And it just ended up being really good. Like I initially I felt like my opponent had the advantage with the advance of the armies, but I kind of made up for it later. But then in the end, it was just really close, and he did win. But it was just like one of those games that went back and forth quite a bit.
Oh, that's so
and
fun.
and it was fun. Like, it was really enjoyable. I had said to him, I was like, I think this is my favorite game I've had. Like, and I said that right after I lost, but I said I think this is my favorite game I've ever had at DBA.
Do you play the same opponent, or do you have multiple opponents? Okay,
I do. I don't play with a group. There is I'm very fortunate. I mean, if I wanted to, once every month on a Sunday, there is a really large group that plays at our local gaming store. Yeah, and so I could play that. However, and I might, since it's only once a month, be able to do it if I really, really wanted to. But I tend to reserve Sundays as a family day for me, because it's the only day that I actually have the ability to. Yeah. And so, like, basically, it's like our day, like, basically.
Yep,
so
I get it.
So I kind of don't really compromise with that. But okay, and so that was my 2 games. Something I'll just mention is I'm toying with the idea of going to an Old Hammer tournament. Actually, there's an Old Hammer tournament in my city.
Oh, you gotta go.
Yeah, I know. It's in my city. The only thing that kind of, and this is me just probably not understanding, but like there are 3 rounds each day for 2 days, and they're each 3 hours, and 3 hours sounds like a long period of time. And they even said, when I questioned them about it, that usually they get done in about 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's more than 2,000 points. It's like a little less than 2,500 points. But I kind of was just like a little, like, I've never been to a wargaming tournament before. Like, I've never went to one. Mm-hmm. And I'm just a little nervous that I'm going to be slow. I guess that's just kind of the thing that I just like worry a little bit, because like, it just feels like there'll be pressure, like, you know what I mean? Like, in a sense, to not screw up by taking too long or whatever. And from what they were saying it's for all levels, beginners and everybody. So I don't know, like, I might just do it and then just figure it out.
Just do it. You just got to go. Because I remember thinking the same thing when I did the bolt action tournament, because I'd only played a handful of games. Even I didn't know. And I mean, you're not trying to win the championship, right?
No,
you're making friends. You're getting your guys on the table, and you're just having fun. And it's just, I think you should do it. You got to do it.
That's so cool. I'm almost. I've already put it out there. Like, I've not signed up, but I went on the page and was talking to people about it. So I probably will. And it's sort of the end of May, and I've already talked to my wife about it. It is over the course of a weekend, so that would be one Sunday that I.
Yeah.
And so.
An opportunity.
Yeah, it really is, and they do it. This is their second year. They did it the first year, Old Hammer 2, Old World 2, and now they're doing this.
Cool.
And so the only thing is, I'm going to have to probably rebase my large. Oh gosh.
Which army are you taking?
Beastmen. Beastmen. The actual, like the not the Shaggoth, but the
like the Cygor.
No, like the. What?
I'm trying to think. I don't know the Beastmen very well.
It's the like the big lizard guys, like the big the half dragon, half.
Like the dragon ogres.
The dragon ogres.
Dragon ogres. Yeah. Half dragon. Yeah.
Now.
So my dragon ogres are huge, and I don't even know if I can fit them on the base they're supposed to be on for this. So I might even have to raise them.
I thought yours were the old school ones, aren't they?
I have old school ones, and they are GW, but the base for this game, it's like 60 by 40 or something, and I have them on 100 by 50, and so I'm gonna have to figure it out. Like that's the one thing that I will absolutely like. I can do the rest with inserts and different kinds of things, but that's the one. Those are the one things that I'll be like in violation, even though it'll be to my disadvantage. But it's still like if you had somebody that was.
So you need a bigger base?
I need a smaller base.
Smaller base.
But they're such big models that I'm not even sure they'll fit on the base they're supposed to be on.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So I was toying with the idea just for the tournament day, just keeping them on the base they're on and putting them on the smaller base and just raising them up. You know what I mean? Like just doing something.
Yeah.
Like just it'll look kind of dumb, like they're on flying carpets, but at least I won't have to.
It'd make it legal, and you wouldn't have to mess with your basing.
Yeah. So that's the gaming stuff. These are so I've done a bunch of ships. These are not all of them, but these are my light ships that I just completed for
Cool.
yeah. So these are some more light ships. They're Scourge ships.
Scourge of the Galaxy.
Yeah. And then these guys here, I have a bunch of them, and these red pieces on the front I'm glossing because they're kind of like tentacles. Because these ships have tentacles, but they're boarding ships, so they kind of come in and they shoot boarding pods, and they basically bring infantry onto other things. These are actually really cool looking. They're atmospheric fighters. So they almost look like the Cylon ships.
Yeah.
If you look at these here, actually I'll come on close with them. But
Oh yeah, it does look like
almost. Oh,
That's
that's
what it kinda
almost like
reminds me
the Raiders from Babylon 5.
maybe. These two these are the biggest ones, biggest ships on the light ship box. This guy has a lot of firepower.
that is pretty big.
Yeah, it's good size. I mean, like some of the ships are a lot bigger, but these are the small ship category. And then this one here is very cool. This is a very cool ship because it has boarding pods. It can drop troops onto planets, and so it's sort of a kind of a hybrid. It's kind of slow, but it actually can really mess with your opponent because it can. They're not always expecting a ship like this to come in and drop troops onto planets. And dropping troops is the whole point of the game. So basically it means winning. Like dropping troops equals winning. Like that's not destroying ship. You don't win by destroying ships as much. You win by dropping troops into planets.
Taking objectives.
Yeah, exactly.
Are those airbrushed or is that all brushwork?
There is a little bit of airbrushing. The brown that makes the fade, that probably is what you notice.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of wondering.
The rest, I've moved towards brushing on. I've used speed paint on this and then inks as well.
Okay.
But basically the that dark is faded. Like it's a fade. Then this guy here, I started painting in the last show, and I've been working on him.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's huge.
New Jabber Slave.
Yeah, the Jabber site. And so I still have some work to do on him for sure. And then I've been actually kind of touching into a lot of different things. I'm going to start battle systems like we were talking about before the show, the 15 mil AD&D battle systems. And I have some 15 mil. We're doing it in 15 mil. And so I've been printing bases for that. And I'm actually going to be probably working tonight on cleaning up some of those 15 mil miniatures and basing them a little bit while we're doing the show. And then one of my other buddies is getting back into is decided he's going to do Test of Honor with me. And so I'm going to be and so I'm going to be, for gaming wise, I'll be playing more Test of Honor. So probably going to be playing some Test of Honor in the near future too. And so
you're living the dream. What do you have what you need for the AD&D battle systems, miniatures wise?
I mean, what I need is relative. I'll be getting more, but I have I have like a unit of bugbears. I have a unit of hobgoblins. I have a unit of bullywugs, which is what I'm doing tonight. That's the largest unit. Okay. Is all the frogmen. I have a unit of lizardmen. I have a couple giants.
Quite a bit. Okay.
I got a couple cyclops from Elpartha. I've got some trolls. And so I'm doing pretty good as far as stuff.
Where do you go to pick them up now? Do you just eBay or do you have other ways?
I've been doing a lot of the Splintered Light, getting a lot of the Splintered Light stuff. Okay. But then I am but then I do have some like Ralpartha stuff, and I do have like the battle system stuff that you gave me for the hobgoblins.
Right. Okay.
And I was thinking about picking some more of them on eBay. They're actually kind of pricey.
I know, that's what I wondered because I see them. Yeah.
Yeah. So I may like possibly get somebody to come down on it and maybe consider adding another group like the one you gave me, and that would be kind of cool. Yeah. But beyond that, I think I'm pretty good. I'm considering doing like a human army in the future to have two sides myself. to kind of play the game. And so I'll look into more miniatures then. And then, yeah, that's mainly it. I mean, working on terrain and doing all kinds of 3D printing and stuff. But so I've been really busy hobbying and gaming and stuff lately. And then I guess I'm drinking a Stella Artois right now. And like you guys saw, I've got the Costco-sized 40 Creek Niagara.
Will that
whiskey.
last you tonight?
I'll try not to drink this whole thing down. There's really just iced tea in here. Don't let me fool you.
You got to pay so.
Yeah. So that's it for that.
Cool.
Why don't we let me see, check and I'm just gonna see if Tim said anything. It doesn't look like he has. Why don't we check into the comments here before we start our first topic?
There you go.
So we got all the howdy hoes and stuff in the beginning. Hey, everybody's. Mel says that the Las Vegas opener is tonight, so I'll be dual watching. All right.
What are you watching? What is going on in the Las Vegas Open? Golf?
I don't even know what that means.
I just assumed you guys knew.
LVO.
It sounded like something I should know. I wasn't sure.
Usually
The LVO.
like golf or tennis or something.
It's actually it's a gaming convention.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Cool.
Don't they call it something else? Isn't it like
You always shorten it to
It's-
LVO.
it's that trade show, isn't it?
I
I don't even know. I should
No.
shut up.
It's the actual convention, gaming convention.
Okay.
It's the big one before they have Adepticon.
Okay.
So everybody looks at watches that one with bated breath to give them an idea of the meta that's coming out for
All different stuff.
Adepticon.
I guess I'm not part of everybody. Whoops.
So we got Damn Elves from Chris. We've got Clark saying disintegrated elves are the best elves. And we've got Chris says, I like the GW mass battle rules for Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, what do they call it? War of the Ring? I have that rule book. Never played it.
Yeah.
Says that's huge to Rusty's terrain piece. Chris wants to know which ACW Hex game that you're playing with your brother.
It's the Flying Pig Games one. Is it shoot?
I've never heard of shoot. What is shoot?
I'll Google it quick and I'll shout it out. I can picture the box cover and it's Flying Pig Games. Maybe that tells him what I'm blanking on the title.
We've got Iron Brigade, he says. Clark is working on the Black Templars Terminator for a painting competition and Armored Class Chinese for Adepticon demos. Awesome. Oh, we got Clyde Ashling in the house. I didn't realize that. I didn't see that he'd stepped in. So, hey, Clyde. He's talking about, he must have been recent because he says that's a Long Island iced tea, maybe. And that's at the bottle. Which, by the way, as much as everybody refers to me as the Canadian, fun factoid, I'm actually from Long Island. So it could be a Long Island iced tea the moment I touch it.
Okay, it's Most Fearful Sacrifice. The 3 Days of Gettysburg. That's what we're playing.
Oh.
A Most Fearful Sacrifice.
Blood and gold.
It's really good.
High Limit Sprint Car Race is what Mel says it is. So High Limit Sprint Car Race, so it's not a game convention at all. You guys just made all that up. Like you went on for 5 minutes about what this thing was
I never
for the gaming world.
Well, there's a Las. I didn't think it was a gaming thing, but there is a Las Vegas gaming thing. But I think it's either
there's a trade show
show that tells kind of like new games coming out. You kind of get the new buzz on that. But
well, the Formula One, because I like Formula One, and I know like some of the folks like NASCAR here. I actually their Formula One starts this weekend, and so
Oh.
which I actually just found out. As much as I like it, but I kind of dip in and out of watching news on it. I didn't even know that they were starting their testing, doing their practices right now and for this weekend. But so I'm assuming it's not that. It's a different kind of sprint because they're not in Vegas.
Sprint
Anyway.
car is
Sprints are those little wing sprints, the
Yeah.
dirt track sprints like that.
yeah.
Casey Kane used to drive sprint car after he got out of NASCAR.
Clark says that the Las Vegas Open is also one of the biggest 40K tournaments in America. So there's a lot of stuff here to confuse us, and that's fine. So there is for sure a tournament also called the Las Vegas Open. Chris says, "Oh, sacrifice."
Yeah.
Not sure what does that refer to.
The Most Fearful Sacrifice is the game.
Oh.
And they're actually doing another Kickstarter either now or it starts this weekend or something for another print run of that. It's the 4th print run they've made of this game, and it's sold out.
Nice.
That's something I notice a lot with a lot of board. It's like GMT does that where.
Yeah, GMT does the P500 thing.
Yeah, and right now they have one where I'm thinking about just throwing my money at it is the World War One naval game.
Okay, I don't know that
Jutland.
one. Oh, Jutland, yeah. My brother, he has a lot of GMT games. We play those fairly frequently.
So Chris says that's my favorite Hex ACW game. And then Percy Block is in the house. Hey there, Percy. Thanks for
Percy.
joining. And we got starts this weekend, Dan. I'm assuming that's the Las Vegas Open we're talking about, or maybe something else.
He might be talking about the Kickstarter.
Okay, yeah.
For
right.
Flying Pig Games, Most Fearful
That's right.
Sacrifice.
All right. Well, why don't we? Tim must be having real problems with his computer. He must have fried the thing because he's not. He's been complete radio silence since he's been having computer problems.
He's probably pretty happy.
Yeah, exactly. He's probably thrown it through the window.
Yeah, I was gonna say, oof, duh.
So, first topic of the evening. I'll introduce this one. And so basically, we've done this one before, but I always find that it's interesting because there's so many paints out there.
Oh,
and there's
man.
even paints outside of hobby paints that people use. Like, and ranging from craft to artisan, outside of the hobby paint. Many people use many different things. And I guess it'd be nice to know what everybody's favorite overall paint is to use. Like, which is the one, if they were to choose one, which is their main paint line and why. But then also, if anybody's like me, and I suspect just from talking to you guys that everybody's like this to a bit, we all probably dip into a lot of different paint lines for certain paints for certain reasons too.
Yeah.
And so maybe somebody doesn't even have one paint system. But it'd be kind of nice to know what are the basic overall ones that people like, and then the ones that are just kind of for a special purpose.
Right.
And so actually, just 2 seconds. I should have did this before the show, but I was going to grab two things. 1 second.
Because it is crazy though. In the last 5 years, you're always seeing a new paint line getting released. Some, new company, they're doing either a Kickstarter or a release, it's like, man, there's so many of them now. So many of them.
Who'd like to go first?
It's your topic if you want to bring it up or, launch.
Oh, sure. I can.
Or whatever.
My number one go-to paint, just I have a coat d'arms set of paint. I have a lot of GW paints. I have a lot of Vallejo paints. Over the years, even though I still stick with certain things for certain purposes, I have a tendency to go to model color as my number one. Vallejo model color.
Yeah.
Now, when I'm painting fantasy miniatures, I do at times substitute in Vallejo game color because of the kind of vibrant fantasy style colors that they have. And I like Vallejo game color as well. But if I could only choose one, I'd probably choose Model Color, the line, which is sort of like, I don't know, it's not like old school in the way we talk about GW hex pots and stuff, but it's sort of been around a while, and it's a pretty good paint line, in my opinion. Now, I guess I asked for why, and so I like two things about it. The biggest one can be a bad thing for some people, and it depends on the way you like to paint. But I like the fact that it's highly pigmented. I find Vallejo Model Color to be somewhat like Citadel in that it actually you get a lot of paint for what, not for necessarily what you paid for in all cases, but you get a lot of paint per drop, in there, a lot of pigment. And so like you do at times want to dilute it down, but you have the choice to dilute it as much as you want, whereas Coat d'Arms comes very thin. And so there are some cases that I have to paint just right out of the pot. I don't even dilute it down. And in some cases, it's just not thick enough, like for my taste. And so that's why I really like Model Color. Game Color is fairly good. I found when I first started using Game Color, there was some real off ones years ago, but I found lately they've been better, the ones I've been getting. And so, yeah, it's somewhat comparable in that regard. As far as specialty stuff, I mean, like I could go on and on because there's a lot of different paints, and I will go to GW for certain paints, but I like for my my inks, and not so much washes, but inks that are for glazing and acting semi like a wash. My Army Painter, strong tones, soft tones, these kinds of guys, I really like. And they're great for covering the surface, where if you don't want the surface covered, like if you don't want to filter, then they're not as good. But if you like a little bit to stay on the surface and to filter as well as to go in the crevices, these guys are good. I still use GW inks, like washes. I do like, your Agrax Earthshades and things. But lastly, like for metallics, because that's kind of like the ones that are generally different, and sometimes people use metallics different than their regular stuff. I like Vallejo acrylic metal color. And so this is actually more for the modeling world, I think. When I say modeling, like model cars and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So runways and stuff. But
yeah.
And so I like these, and a couple reasons. They're very thin, so sometimes they're hard to work with, and it requires a fair bit of careful amount of putting not too much paint on the brush, because it will go everywhere pretty quickly because it's so thin. But it's very vibrant. Like the vibrancy, you never have to do more than one coat, and the vibrancy is like amazing. Like it's just such a it's like working with those old liquid gold ones that were like, had like some sort of alcohol base or something on them. These things are just great right out of the pot, and they're still acrylic. So I could go on and on, but that's sort of the ones that I've stuck with, and I haven't turned down too many. Like I don't have like a whole bunch that I used and didn't like. I still use those Coat d'Arms for certain things. I'm actually planning on using some. I actually pulled one out tonight to potentially use on the tongue of that Jabber Scythe. And I want to use them up too. Like I don't want to waste them and have them all dry out. So I've been trying to. And then actually, there's just certain things like my bases. I use Coat d'Arms, the Goblin Green for all my bases. So I use
edge color.
Coat d'Arms Goblin Green for my base, when I do the Goblin Green bases, I use the Coat d'Arms Goblin Green for that.
So you're edging on around your base.
Oh, yes, and also to cover the entire thing.
Oh, okay.
Like when I do like a Goblin Green base and the whole base is green, and then I'll usually dry brush like the yellow on the top too. So
do you, part of when you decide what paints you either use or like, I always think has to do a little bit with are you using a wet palette, or you use like a tile or a plastic lid, or what do you do?
That's a good question. I own a wet palette, and I don't typically use it. I would like to start using it more for certain projects. I actually just work off an aluminum foil, like a paint with aluminum foil palette on it. Just a palette, and so that's all I use. Now, like a lot of things lead to other questions. I mean, because I use the kind of paints that I use, like a highly pigmented thick paint, I use a lot of Vallejo glaze medium. So like glaze medium, which is I find thinner than like, let's say a gloss medium, you know. But
Are you
it
talking
works
like
really
Lamia media?
It's very much like Lamian medium, you know, from GW. But I use the Vallejo glaze medium like that, and I use that. It's on my table, and I use it almost every time I paint. I also use Liquitex Flow-Aid in water. So I use like that bottle concentrate of Liquitex Flow-Aid, and I make a dilution, and I put that in water for when I want to use water instead of glaze medium, or both, if I really want to thin something down. So thinning paint is something I do a lot because I try to I use a thicker paint to start, by my estimation.
Okay. The other question I had was, so do you use the paints when you're choosing which paint to use on a particular miniature application? Are you choosing it by its properties, or are you choosing it by the color? You know, like, do you have like, well, I love that certain brown from whatever, or is it because, well, I need more of a glazy thing, or I need a strong pigment, or what?
That's a good question. I would say I still primarily pick based on color. Now, there are times when I paint with like white, and like white, as like you guys probably feel this way too, but like white is very thick, right? Like, you know, like
typically, yes.
yeah, exactly. And so depending on what I'm painting with, I know that at times I may need to thin down quite a bit. And there are times when I'll even use an airbrush white, like when I'm painting directly on a miniature sometimes, just because it's so thin.
Yep.
You know, but normally speaking, I have colors that are just sort of my favorite colors. Oh, there he is. All right. Tim's in the house.
Howdy, stranger.
Better late than never, I guess. My
God. All right.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I got kicked out of Facebook, and
oh man,
I don't know. It's all that wargaming talk, you know. We're such rebels.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, we did our updates, and
I guess I got canceled.
What are you drinking? Did you actually decide to spike your drink because of the kind of evening you're having getting on here?
Well, it was close. It was a near-run thing.
Anyways, where we're at is we started our topic on paints. So I just talked about my the paints, and you know, I just basically have. What we're basically saying is like, what is your go-to if you have one, like main paint line that you like, that you tend to use, but then like, what are the ones that you tend to go to for like specific reasons that might be out of your paint line? Then some questions, kind of, Dan asked some questions just about like how you choosing your paints for certain projects. And, you know, we were talking about, and I was just talking about, we were talking about like glaze mediums and thinning paints and stuff like that too. And so, I don't know if you want to just kind of get adjusted to the conversation a little bit more, Tim, and I'll just let maybe Rusty or Dan answer next, and then you can go after that, just kind of so you can get caught up to speed. Does that work?
Okay, that works for me. Whatever you want to do.
No.
I'm ready to go. Whatever.
You're ready to throw down. All right. After that evening I've had, I'm ready to go.
It's happening.
All right,
so to dive into a beer.
Well, who would like to go next? It doesn't matter to me.
I can go real quick here. Just give me a second. My favorite paint line.
Oh yeah, there you go. There you go. Send that to me with a straw.
Yeah. Your favorite paint line, Rusty?
Yeah, my favorite paint line is the P3s.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I like the P3s. They got a decent color lineup, and the consistency is they're very easy to work with. They just go right on the. They're not thick like GW paints. They're kind of like in between an airbrush paint and
Mhm.
you know, so you're able to use them and you don't have to thin them out at all.
They come in this kind of pot, right?
Yes.
Right.
I
Yep.
think they're made by the same company, actually. Kota
Yeah,
Arms and
could be.
P3, I think they're made by the same company. So they probably are thinner like Kota Arms for that reason.
Yeah. So
And some people like that.
yeah, it's like it's a no-brainer type of paint, in my opinion, for ease of use.
Mhm.
It's like I'm doing something on a GW paint. It's like I got where the heck is it all? Right. So here I got 2 containers of Lamia media just to thin stuff out with
Mhm.
Mm.
when I'm working with GW stuff. Just the fact that sometimes it goes on like paste.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. And
if
some
I'm
colors
trying to
work with others.
put on a quick coat of something that I want to be on thick without much thought process, yeah, GW. I got a lot of GW paint here. But like you said, is that if I'm going to put a wash on, I like the GW washes because they're just easy,
They're great.
no-brainer stuff.
Yeah,
And
they're
they
great.
work fine. But if I'm
Yeah,
going to paint most of my models, it's going to be 100% P3. The only problem is sourcing it now. I have to order it online to get it.
Oh, you used to get it at a hobby shop. Is what
Yeah.
I remember you saying that.
The local hobby shop, Mayhem, they said, "Oh, we're discontinuing the P3 line. We're not going to sell it anymore." And it's like everything's going to be 75% off. And I just walked up to it and went, just grabbed it all.
Oh,
It's like-
gotcha.
I don't care if I have 3 or 4 of them already. I'm just buying. I bought everything when they had. And then it's like went up to the counter and it's like with a big old all the box, that they had. It's like next to it, and they go, "You're buying all this?" And, yes. Because if I
Thank you.
can't get it anymore from you guys, I'm going to
Well, and that's dirt cheap. So
yeah.
yeah.
And it kept me in stock. Is I still got a lot of stuff that is like doubles and triples. I got are still sealed up. And that's the thing is that Tim, as you can attest, it doesn't dry out if it's sealed up.
I don't know what they do, but compared to Games Workshop stuff, that P3 does not dry out.
I would say the Kota Arms is the same. I would say this is the same. And I wonder if it's the bottle.
It's the
Yes.
bottle.
Because like it's the same bottle and it's the same
Yeah.
company. So
And I think the only problem I have with the bottle is eventually the lid
Lid will-
cracks.
Yeah.
But I got it. It's like here's just reaching on. I got when the bottle's empty, I keep the lid.
So Rusty, does yours say on the side of a P3 manufactured by HMG Paints? Because this says right on the side. I'm just going to blow up my screen here for a second. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I'm not
That's
sure.
kind-
If you can see
Yeah.
that? Manufactured by HMG Paints.
Which is
Yeah.
common knowledge, but I'm not saying that everybody knows that, but I mean, they advertise that it's made by the same company that made the original hex pots for GW.
Yeah.
But so they're proud of that,
Mhm.
is what I meant. I'm not trying to.
It doesn't say anything. It
Oh,
just says
look at this.
I'm not seeing where it's saying who manufactured it.
Yeah, because I wonder if they might not want it disclosed where they're making their paint.
They may-
Well, it's fairly common pot. I mean, they just order just because
Yeah.
the pots are the same, that doesn't mean they're just ordering the pot from the pot maker.
Yeah, it's not
Well,
copywritten. Yeah,
These days, you don't have to.
Now, Mike might get us canceled if I said we're not talking about
pot
pot.
makers.
Almost anybody can make pot now, right?
Yeah.
Certain places, I guess. So,
We can grow it out here in Iowa.
have you looked into that, Dan?
Well, that's what they used. We used to spray it. We had ditchweed. We called it. It grows wild.
Ditchweed.
Yeah, and we'd spray it with 2,4-D. It was just a weed, but we got thinking some years we'd been better off if we'd sprayed the corn and kept the ditchweed. But
There's a lot of it. It's like you'd be driving down the country road and it's just everywhere.
it flourishes. Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
the reason for that is that during World War I,
for rope.
they grew it for
Yeah.
rope.
Yep, in the Midwest, so it
Yeah.
got to be wild. It's probably not very good quality. I mean, I don't know, but I would assume
Yeah.
not.
But anyway,
It got
Now-
side.
if I'm going to paint bolt action miniature, which are historical,
Mm-hmm.
I'm breaking out the Valeos
Okay.
Yep.
because it's no brainer. Because the whole lineup is I got their paint kits here, the Vallejo paint kit. If I want to do Americans, I'm going to do British. You buy the paint kit, comes everything you need in a box,
Yeah.
and you don't have to think about it. You just pull it out. It's like, oh, this one is used for this portion of the uniform. This is for this uniform. You know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the only derivation I take when it comes to my paints. If I'm doing historical, it's Vallejo.
But you won't. So do you mix Vallejo in with your other projects, or literally just for when you're doing historical?
Just when I'm doing historical.
Really?
What about,
Huh.
so do you use the same metals for coat arms, or do you like other metals better?
Well, nowadays I do have you can buy the big pots of the GW. Like,
So you like GW for metal?
yeah, the gun metal.
Metal in washes.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're good. GW makes good metals.
because they got a nice. The heck, they got probably 10, 15 different metals.
Hmm.
So whatever colors you want to do, it's there it is. It's like antique brass all the way up to gold.
Mm-hmm. You ever get tempted to try some different paint lines?
I have in the past. It's like, well, I started off with the old Ralph Partha paints. There's a whole bunch of other ones I used to use over the years. We used to have, if Mel's still on here, what was the name of the line? If he's still here, the name of the line that our local guy that bought Comics Plus, he had his own paint line.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he had buy it by the barrel, the paint's by the barrel, and he'd mix it and put it in the pots and sell it and ship it out. Howard Hughes, there we go. I knew he was hiding in here somewhere. So there was one time I had a bunch of that stuff, but I was not too impressed with it. But
All right. Well, who'd like to go next?
I can go. I'll be the outlier. Basically, I've got a smattering of paints, but my to this day, my main paints I use are still the old Raw Partha paints. I kid you not.
Wow. For
Yes.
for everything you do,
Yes.
including like bolt action and everything.
Yes, although when I do, because I said I do have other lines, but like right now, painting my Civil War, I got the paints that I'm sitting here using for the Confederates, and it's probably 80% Raw Partha. I'm using one Army painter. I'm using 2 Cote d'Armes, and I'm using about 2 Vallejos. But when I do bolt action, I do largely use Vallejo, and for the same reason Rusty pointed out, is because I remember when I was first researching the Americans, and then I did the Germans, and then I did the Soviets, but you can go on and you can easily find, I don't buy the sets because sometimes I have some of them already. A lot of times the sets come with black and things that I don't need, but they've done the research that these are the colors that were supposedly match, and it gets you in the ballpark. Otherwise, you're kind of grabbing for straws, and you're trying to look at photos, and I know they vary. I know that they varied all the kinds of greens and the grays for the Germans. But it gets you in the ballpark, because you just got to jump on somewhere. So I used a lot of those, and I do like the Vallejos. They have excellent coverage. I think my big thing is when it came to paints, when I started painting in the 90s was when I used some polyess and testers before that and all the stuff that everybody did. But when I got in the early mid 90s, when I kind of got back into it, and I didn't have any hobby shops around, but I had ordered catalogs through Dragon magazine, I think was where I got started, and I got the Raw Partha catalogs, which I still have, and I just started ordering some of their paints. They seemed cheap enough, and they just had a nice smattering, and I used them and liked them, and so then I just kept adding to them, and then it was funny. Partha, was it like around 99, 2000, 98, somewhere in there is when they closed up. And so I was like, dang it, now what? Well, then I started going down to, well, it's about an hour and 20 minutes to get to the nearest like hobby shop that has that stuff. And so you could get Games Workshop, which of course I still have these from 99, 2000. They're still freaking good. Are you kidding me? And so, but then I started getting onto eBay, and you could pick up every once in a while. I just had it as a saved search, so it'd ping me on my email that Raw Partha paint, was listed. And I bought, I think twice. I got super lucky, and I bought a huge box. I mean, I think the one was like 50 some paints, and the one was 30 some paints, and they were selling them for like $2 a bottle or something, and they were all good. And so yes, I think maybe one or two had some liquid in, but I couldn't salvage them. The rest were all good. And then I've just religiously, once or twice a year, I'll go in and just shake them, and they stay good. So I've got 2 or 3 of some of the different colors, and they're my like go-to colors when I'm painting, like like leather or like wood. It's what I use, and so I love that. And I think the big thing is for me, I have a love-hate relationship with dropper bottles.
Okay.
I know everybody has their different views on that, and that's all good. But
that was the second reason I never got to. The other reason I was going to say is I like the dropper bottles. That's the two reasons. Yeah, I do like them. Yeah.
And the biggest thing for me on the dropper bottles is just inevitably, some of them. There's a couple of Vallejo colors that you have to shake till your arm needs to be put in a sling. And I know there's little things you can vibrate them and stuff that I don't have, but oh man, and the two colors won't mix together. Like there's one, it's like what it is, it doesn't matter. It's a German color, like a green. That green doesn't matter. Green? No, it's a green, it's like on their armored color. That what's that word? The gray, or it's a yellow green. And if you don't shake it and you squeeze it out, there'll be some green and some yellow.
Yeah.
And some of them are worse than others, but and then inevitably, I've got this mahogany brown, which is the one I do use for my go-to rifles.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Yes, it's freaking awesome. Mahogany brown. But
one of my favorites.
This one in particular, and then a couple other ones. Sometimes I don't know why I shake it, and then I open up the lid, and it just wants to puke out. And I'm like, I just wanted a little dip. And now
you know what it is? They do dropper bottles. They do require maintenance.
Bubbling up.
Well, they require maintenance with your toothpick because what happens is paint does build up on the inside of the nozzle, and what's happening is you can't get it out. You can't get it out, and you're applying so much pressure.
No.
By the time you, well, a lot of times what'll happen is when that starts to get clogged, you'll apply pressure, and then you'll apply too much to get it to come out. And then what'll happen is the clog will open, and then it all comes out at once.
Okay, and maybe that's what's happening because I just open up the lid and it's trying to bubble out.
Oh yeah. I've seen that too. I've seen that too.
It's like a volcano.
It's like a little volcano.
Yes, Tim knows. It's like a volcano, and I'm like, gosh, dang it.
I'm kind of convinced that
you start dropping it in.
But I do some mixing of paints, especially on my Bretonians, but on other things too. And then I do like the dropper bottle. You can more control. Otherwise, I use my brush and dip it out, and then clean it and put it in the other paint and dip it out and then mix them, and that works just fine too. But I waste less paint, and then for some reason these freaking Raw Partha lids, and I bought a bunch of the empties too. The paint will not freaking dry out in here, and I mean these are literally. This paint I'm holding right now was literally bought and I've used it till it's almost gone. I think I bought it like a 98, and it's literally good. And and we've all got, I've got these GW ones which are garbage. Even their new ones, inevitably they're dripping out the back of the lid, so they won't seal back up, and it just like, oh man, why they can't go back to the old Hexbot, because those seal. It's that snap lid, and that's why the Cote d'Arms are the same way. They seal good, they work good like that. Like Palmer said, they are low pigmented or high liquid, or however you want to look at it.
Yeah, so, and I'd say they're good at. I mean, they're actually, I've read.
I find ways really that I like it
that way. Yeah, some people prefer it.
In certain applications, I like it. I'm using it almost as a glaze, either layering or over the top of a white base coat. I can get a really nice effect, and then whether you put a wash on it or not, but it's almost like doing a zenithal highlight, because the way, or like a speed paint, it's almost like that. So that part can be an advantage and a disadvantage. And then as far as
the thin ones like that, in my opinion, when your paint is thinner like that, then there's usually a greater variety from paint to paint on how it performs, and you then like each one you're learning like how this one works, like whereas I find the ones that are thicker by nature, start thicker, are
more
usually
consistent.
more consistent. They're more consistent. You just usually thinning them down though. It just depends on what you like.
I think that's probably true. And then I do have strong tone and soft tone, but I haven't found where I've really gotten the look that I want from them. I still go back to the old Citadel. I use their Reichland Flesh Shade a lot, Seraphim Sepia, and Agrax Earth Shade, and Nolan Oil. I use those a lot. But yeah, I mean that's kind of what I do, and I guess I prefer bottles that aren't dropper. I know I'm in the minority at Pears.
Oh no, there are a lot of people that
well, yeah.
It just depends.
I like to dip in like that, and it just seems like I don't know. I like that better. It's just easier for what I do. I do use a wet palette sometimes like when I'm painting a bigger miniature where you're doing lots of blending, and maybe you're like on the nights where I'll be coming back to it for several days. Otherwise, I just use just an old sour cream lid, and I just use that as a palette. When it gets full of paint, I pitch it, and I just got to stack them every time we throw one in the recycling. I grab the lids out and use it as a palette, and it fits on the desk nice. But yeah, that's kind of my. And then for terrain, I use any of the cheap craft paints. Obviously, it's they work fine and they're good for terrain. So that's my paint.
This, what is the name of this stuff here? It's the green from Raw Partha, the fluorescent green.
Yeah, I've got Willow Wisp, which is a glow in the dark one.
Yeah, because I got my UV light, and I hold this thing up, and this thing just glows.
Yes, yes.
And you put it on. It's like you paint a bunch of models, and you put it out in the dark, and you flash this light on. You're like,
pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. And then Iron Wind Metals had some of their leftover paint still, and so I did buy some of theirs. They come in the same bottles, and they have the same name colors.
It's Raw Partha.
But it's Raw Partha paint. Iron Wind Metals is a group of people that broke off from Raw Partha after they closed up shop.
Yeah.
And as of last I knew, you could still get paints from them. And then, well, actually for a while you could, but then I think there was just a guy that still had some in his basement. And actually I bought a couple boxes from him because I thought it was the end of the line, and it might be by now. But anyway, yeah. So I'm the Raw Partha paint guy.
Yeah, that's cool. Surprised that you could still get that stuff.
Well, yeah, and the big thing is it just lasts forever. I think actually there's a few here that were AD&D Raw Partha series that here. Well, and here's one for I can't read the small print, but it's for Vor, which was their science fiction line, VOR.
Yeah, there's AD&D Tentacle Pink.
Yeah. And I just bought a few of these just literally like a year ago. I mean, they're literally just as good as brand new. I don't get it.
They're mauve.
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh.
What happened?
It's dried out.
The Ralpartha?
Yes.
No, it can't be.
Oh,
it's dried out.
All right, zoom in. Let me zoom in. Let's take a look at it.
We got to have a moment of silence.
Oh, wow.
That doesn't happen very often.
No, it doesn't.
Is it open? Was it sealed? Was it ever used?
It's used. It was down to about a quarter left, but it's dried at the bottom of it.
I do a lot of times because I leave the lid open while I'm painting that color, and I dip out of the lid is what I do. And then I take my finger in I've got a water cup here. I put 3 or 4 drips of water in the paint. And
I thought you spit into it. I thought,
don't ever say that. Go back to grenaders or whatever, but don't ever use double.
When this gets posted live, I'm gonna watch that.
You know, you double fist beers, right? Double fisting beers is like 2 beers, right? Like
you
having
there he goes again.
Never, not even beer.
Men should never use that phrase.
You should not walk away.
Just don't even they are no longer in your vocabulary.
Okay, I'm gonna have to be instructed here a little bit more.
Oh my gosh, they're gonna kick you right out of Canada, Palmer.
He's losing it.
Oh, I swear to God, I've watched a lot of podcasts and I've never seen anybody do that.
Nobody. Palmer's not history.
Don't ever do that again. I know what you meant, but you got to see it from our side. Don't ever do that again.
Oh Lordy.
If you replay back, I think you'll find the angle was still very different. And so if you replay back, Tim, I think you'll find the angle was still very different. But I get your point.
I don't think so.
I don't care how bad the angle changes. Don't ever do that again.
How about this? How about, Tim, you talk about your paint views?
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay.
Alrighty then.
Yes. Okay. Well, I have, let's see. I got P3, which I really enjoy. And one thing I like about P3 is it's thin enough right out of the pot, go right to the miniature and start painting. There's a few of them that, a couple of the whites, I like to thin down a little bit. And maybe 1 or 2 of the metallics, but nothing major. I mean, most of those P3s I love. It's just a shame that they're just so hard to get. Then I have a whole stack of a Vallejo over there. I don't even know if you can see that. There we go. There it is.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I got all the Vallejo in the middle, and I got some more Vallejo on the left, and I got my Games Workshop. I got some Army Painter, speed paints. And now I'll mix and match during projects. It just depends on what color I'm looking for. Like sometimes, especially like when you're doing ancients and especially like, or barbarian type models where you've got a lot of earth tones. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just don't have enough from one manufacturer to get that
variety. Yeah.
You want that earth tone, but you want it different. You know, you wanted a little bit more contrast in your earth tones. So yeah, stuff like that. But yeah, I'm a big fan of P3. I just that going right out of the pot, and then the thing I don't like about the droppers is trying it. It's always better to go less than more, but I always have a hard time judging. Just I'll look like at a unit, and I'll say, well, I'm going to have this color on all their boots, or all this strap, or all this gun or spear or whatever, and invariably I put too many drops, and I waste more paint because I cannot judge the droppers on how much paint. It's like if I'm just dipping my brush into a pot,
Yeah.
you know, dip it
Doesn't
in,
matter. Yeah.
and paint till there's nothing left on the brush, and then I go back again and back again.
Yes.
With the droppers, where you're dropping it in like I don't have like a wet pellet. I got one of them stupid, those little popper things. They're like wait a minute.
Don't throw your back out.
I got one of these things it's got all these it's like one of the little popper things.
Yeah.
When the paint dries, this pops out.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen one of those before.
What's it for?
Well, it's just
It's almost like something you put
one of
ice in.
those little stress things. You just pop it.
Oh, okay.
That's all. And the paint and whatever it's made out of, the paint doesn't stick. I saw this on a video one time. Some guy did this a long time ago, where he had one of these, and he uses it like kind of like a wet palette, and where he blends his paints because it has so many like little bitty holes in it.
Yeah.
That it's just
That's cool.
You can have several different blends working at the same time. Plus, you can have like little bits of little water in there, where you can kind of keep your brush wet and your paints moist. Especially like Vallejo, when it comes out of the bottle, it's so thick.
Yeah.
A lot of times you got to wet your brush before you go back in and keep it moist that way. But yeah, that stuff pops right out of there. It's funny.
That's cool.
Yeah, put my eye out, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I love this little thing. And my girlfriend had it, and it was just like one of these things she got at one of them trade shows that she goes to. And I'd seen that video, and I just happened to see it sitting on the table in a bag that she had brought back from a trade show. And I thought, oh, I know exactly what I can use that for. I use this thing all the time. When I'm using my Vallejo paints, I use this all the time.
So to get that, do you think that it's sold for another purpose, that you have to find it, or is it sold for the paint?
No, it's one of those stress things.
Yeah,
it's just for popping,
like a fidget thing.
So you almost wonder how easy it is to
totally.
find.
And so what some clever young man did, he noticed this stuff, and because it's whatever sort of rubbery material this is made out of, your paints don't stick to it. And so when they dry out, you just push it from the back side to pop it, and that little bit of dried paint just pops right out.
That's so awesome.
It's absolutely hilarious, and I cannot take credit for it. I saw it on a video once. I forget who was doing it, but I thought, well, that's brilliant. Taking something that is made for a completely other purpose, and we've turned it into almost a hobby essential. And I love this thing. I use it all the time.
Is there anything said on it, like of what it's called? Is there anything like in there?
Like to search for it?
No, this thing just has advertisements on it from wherever she went to when they gave it to her. But it's just like one of those little popper things, that stress things that you fidget with and pop it. It's almost like reusable bubble wrap.
Okay.
Yeah. Huh.
And I'm sure by now somebody has gotten a hold of this company that makes these things and has told them, you need to make something like that and market it as a painting thing for hobbyists. And I'm sure somewhere somebody's already done that. But it's just such a clever little idea.
Mhm.
And they're easily to wash, you know, and they crumble up. Like I can crumble it up and it just goes right back into shape. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Dang, that's the best thing I've learned tonight, probably. Period.
Oh, just dropping knowledge, baby. Just
I
dropping knowledge.
appreciate you sharing. Thank you.
All right. So, well, one question I did have, Tim, with the privateer press, I'm guessing because of the kind of bottle it is and the cap we talked about, similar to Coat d'Arms, is that yours don't dry out, right? Like you've not had any issues with them drying
No,
out.
not with P3s. No, not
They're
really.
kind of pretty wet to begin with, right? Like as you were saying,
Yeah.
they're kind of,
Yeah,
and then they have
a
that,
lot of
that
moisture
lid.
in them. Yeah. The
Because-
one thing though you got to do with the P3s, or maybe I'm just sloppy, but on the inside of the rim of the bottle and on the inside of the lid where it snaps down, sometimes you just go in there with
Dig
not
it
a hobby
out.
knife, but like a sculpting tool or something, and just dig out that paint that's in. Yeah, there you go. Just dig out that paint.
Yep.
Little
Now,
screwdriver.
a lot of people will throw that strip away that they pull out of the lid that's dried.
Yeah.
I said, don't do that. Take that and drop it right back in that paint. Put a little thinner in there, or maybe just straight up a little bit of water, and get you like those little metal balls and stuff, and drop them in that pot. Shaky,
Yeah.
shaky, shaky.
Really?
Yes.
How did that go?
I use those little bit.
Shaky, shaky,
They're
shaky.
like double-aught buckshot, maybe a little bit bigger, and you just drop them in your paint thing. Whack! It is. You shake them up, and there you go. I never throw that stuff away. I always drop it right back in
I
the
always
pot.
throw it away. Huh.
No, I drop it right back in the pot. Put your
Wow.
little, whatever liquids of your choice. Some people use alcohol. Some people use water. Some people use like for spray paint, the thinner, like when you have
Uh-huh.
like spray airbrush thinner.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
can drop that in there and it thins it out.
Right.
And matter of fact, when I first got my airbrush and I was doing my Space Marines, I used to take the P3, one of my favorites called pig iron, and
Yes.
Pig iron.
I would put that in there, and then I put a lot of the. It was not designed as obviously an airbrush paint, so I'd put a lot of thinner in there, and run that through my airbrush that way, and I just use that airbrush thinner in my pots when I like if they get too thick, I'll just thin them out with that stuff and have those little metal balls, shake it up. And like I said, I don't ever throw away that dried out paint. I drop that right back in there, put a little more liquid in there, get those metal balls and start shaking that stuff up. And there you go.
You can hire Palmer to shake them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just buy yourself.
Tim's
a
gonna
bag
grab
for
his metal
BBs.
balls.
Hey. Got metal balls.
Balls of steel.
Balls
Anyways,
of steel.
you're gonna go grab his metal balls.
I gotta
So-
go grab my metal
About the
balls.
size of BBs. I
Anyways,
heard.
I think there's a few comments in here. It's been
What I did have one paint question. Does any of you guys use Foundry?
Oh shit!
I haven't.
Because they have
Okay.
the good lid.
With my balls the size of BBs now.
Well, you said it. I
Right.
didn't.
Between Palmer double fisted and me with the balls the size of BBs, we're
Grab yourself some
We're a
balls
pretty
about
bad
the
group.
size of BBs.
Just so you know, I do have one of those vibrating things. Actually, that's a whole other thing.
Put
Hang
your
on.
BBs on there.
Off the rail real quick. You better.
I know
Where-
nothing.
There's no
kids
double
home in the
fisting.
room.
I use a vibrator. I don't use any double fisting.
Wow, that's next
Well, we've
level
gone
stuff.
downhill tonight.
anyways,
I'm
let's
sorry.
Back to
we got
Foundry
another-
paints.
we got
I'm sorry,
another.
I'm 12, so you know.
All right. Does anybody in the room use Foundry paints?
Mm-mm.
I'm
No.
tempted by them, and they have the triad system, and
Yeah.
a lot of people in the UK use them, and they have the right kind of lids, and so
Sure.
And I've ordered from Foundry a couple times, and I was so tempted to have them drop some in, but it was always during the winter time, and I thought, time they got to my
Only-
mailbox, would they freeze? I didn't know.
Only thing I know, and I've only read this recently, Dan, is
Okay.
that for whatever reason, when looking up the triads for the Foundry paints,
Yep.
some of the feedback I saw online is that two of them, this is just anecdotal comments I've read people say, two of them always seem to work and one of them just seems slightly off, and they end up mixing their own anyway, like for that third one. Like they never seem to be perfect when they pick these three. For some people, that was the only criticism that I read. Like nothing about the paint is bad or anything like that. Yeah.
Okay.
But,
yeah, because I just wondered. They look good and they look affordable, and I know they're not local, so that's a little bit of a thing. But
yeah, I've never seen him anywhere.
You probably have to.
Some of the YouTube channels, like that Liberator 240, he does a lot of Napoleonics. He always has them sitting on his desk.
Unless you're in like the UK, it's probably hard to get them right in the store.
Well, yeah, I would just have to order them when I order some minis or something. But anyway, just
we got a lot of comments.
Okay, yeah, go with those.
So what I'm going to do is let's try not to get into discussion tonight on the comments like we usually do because we just have a lot, and we have another topic to do. But let's just go through them. And I am pretty far back here, but I think this is where we're at. I backed the last game a few months ago called Rock of Chickamauga. This is Chris. He's talking about the hex tile games.
Yep.
Hex Encounter games. Army Paint or War Paints Fanatics is my go-to for essentially everything. And I heard those are really good. They redid their formula. My favorite paint is Vallejo, says Chris. Clyde says Monument Hobbies Pro Acrylic. They taste good. That's another thing you got to think about.
That's a
off the tip of that brush.
They have a crayon flavor for Marines.
So for Chris, it's AK being number 2. Because he said Vallejo was number 1. I don't think we shouted out Wolfgang Messerschmitt. Thanks for joining in the show tonight.
That's a good German name.
Yeah, he says Army Painter Speed Paints and Washes, Vallejo and Vallejo Air for Metallics. Okay. Speed Paint. Yeah, I like the Army Painter Speed Paints. I've been doing these ships that I just showed earlier. Some of these are actually Speed Paint, Army Painter Speed Paint, as the yellow color. They do look really nice. And then he also says, starting to use oils for dark washes after this last pot I'm done with null oil wash. Yeah, oil wash is a fun thing to do. That looks really vibrant. I know I said I wasn't going to get into discussion on the comments, but I'm not particular to any paint, says Mel. I tend to use whatever. I do like the speed paint, though. Yeah. Army Painter has invaded my paint rack, says Percy. Clyde says, all seriousness, I prefer Pro Acrylic for standard painting. Army Painters at GW for contrast and speed paints and washes. Chris yells, Tim. I think that's not when all the drama happened, but I think when you entered the room. That's coming up. Don't think I've bought a Citadel paint over a decade, says Percy. Howard Hughes was when we confirmed that was the paint. The paints that Rusty was talking about that were local paints. Mel says steps back into the bushes. I'm not sure where that started, and I think we're still early. Anyone remember polyester paints in glass jars? I don't remember.
I just showed some earlier.
My first paints were that polyester in the glass jars. Couldn't get them open if you got some paint.
That's why I always have a pair of pliers sitting right next to me in my desk.
Yeah, same.
So Percy says no too thin coats users. I've never used it. I know that's Duncan from that used to work at GW, his line. I've never tried them. I don't know how good they are.
Same. Heard of them and they look good.
I think part of it is just that sometimes when you get locked into a lot of paints that you already own, like I don't really buy anymore. Like I don't try other things. It's not that they're not good. I just, I already have a whole line of coat to arms that I don't know how long it's going to take me to get through because if they're not my go-to ones, they're kind of ones that I use here and there. Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is that you use what's available, easy pickup in the store.
Hmm. They do have a whole rack of tooth and coats in my local gaming store.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we have a lot. Like
might-
this store is huge.
I might move up there. I don't have anything like that.
Mel says I do. I might have a bottle or two yet. That must be in reference to the tooth and coats.
Or the poly.
Lots of Laughs was so good back in the day. That can't be the tooth and coats. That's got to be something else.
Polyester,
Dunker-
maybe.
Maybe Dunker Glob or something. Mel says Duncan call it. Oh yeah, Duncan. That's the guy. The painter is Duncan, right?
No,
Yeah.
that's the Dunkelfeld. It's the German paint that would separate from.
Oh, yeah. And I have it sitting right here. Yeah, it's the Middlestone or something like that. It was something like that. Here it is.
You squeeze
Yeah,
it out, you get-
Middlestone is the one that I have trouble with, but Dunkelgelb is the color that you're getting. Yes, he's right. Thank you. Yep.
Warmut's in the house. Hey there. He's like, "Ha, yep. So you rushed to find minis to use that color on, so you are not wasting it." That's like when you use like a bottle dropper and like a whole bunch comes out. I think is what he means.
That's why I always have like extra models like sitting off to the side,
Yeah.
like of maybe the same general kind of paint scheme. You get away with that with ancients and like dark age stuff, where you're using a lot of the same kind of colors. I just keep extra models on the side, so I'll pick one up, put some color on it, just to use up the extra.
Yeah. Now I think we're coming into. This was supposed to be me showing Dan actually shaking his bottles in the basement, but I think Dan
I like that one. They were
a step removed from this now. Children, close your eyes. Go see what mommy is doing. Oh my God! Lots of laughs. Wife came into the room saying, "What are you watching?"
Whoops.
Anyway, I don't know what that is. Fight popper. I'm not sure what that is. Fidget popper. That must be the thing.
Fidget popper.
Fidget
I'm
popper.
gonna look and see if Amazon has that or something, just to see, because I'm actually, now that you've shown that, like, I actually use this tin. I just use foil, and I just basically use one of these things you would get at like Michael's, but then I just, rather than cleaning it, I just use the foil, and I actually changed it tonight, but I've used it for a month, like multiple projects, but I actually would rather do that, so I'm not wasting foil. Like, just so I'm not like using consumables, like, just something I could just pop it out. The only thing I wasn't sure is just how deep the well is, like, how much room you have.
It's deep, but it's deep enough where you can mix some colors in it, but you're not going to put so much in. I don't think you're going to waste much.
How deep is it?
Are you looking for a measurement? Hey, why don't you just zoom in and you can get a good look at it.
Stick your pinky in it.
There we go.
How deep does your pinky go into it?
Oh,
that looks pretty good.
I got
right up to the knuckle.
You got me, Rusty. I know you did that on purpose. You did that on purpose, and I will play along. There, my little finger is in. Rusty, you are bad. You are a bad influence on us.
Okay.
Me? I was just asking a personal question.
Just ask. Jim, can you put your finger in?
I already found one. You can find them online. Target.
Oh, okay. You're just looking. So what did you search for? A fidget toy?
Yeah,
on Amazon, probably.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Well, Amazon or other places if you're not an Amazon human. But yeah, fidget popper is all I searched.
Fidget popper. Okay. All right. So Chris says silicone.
Silicone.
Dollar store sells them.
They're cheap.
Drop-up bottles are nothing but a marketing scheme to get you to buy more paint. The only thing about that, Mel, is what I was going to say to Tim when he was talking about that is, like, maybe if you have these bottles and like your paint never dries, that's a thing.
like that they're like you save more paint that way. But I find with GW bottles and any other pot that I've used, that stuff dries out where my dropper bottles never dry out. So where I have had the problems you guys talk about, where I too much comes out, for me the biggest problem is when like he was saying earlier about like a whole flood comes out. Like when that happens, you feel like your heart sinks because you're like, okay, so a third of the bottle. Like I just lost a third of the bottle, you know? But typically speaking, I don't have that happen too much as long as every once in a while, I use a toothpick in the top of the nozzle.
Well, sometimes you put too much on your palate, like Tim said, and then you're like trying to find places to use it.
Yeah, I find it never dries out though. So if I'm pretty careful in that way and I don't use too much, I don't usually have much of a problem. I guess I can't argue with the fact that these guys just never seem to dry out like what you guys are saying. The thing is I find because they're watered down, you have to use a lot more than what I would use from this. And so it's sort of like, how does that balance? Like, I don't know, because like, as long as I'm not having the major accident with this, they just never dry out. But then these guys, I use more and have to do more coats. And I'm dunking the whole brush in there and glopping it out, like, you know, and taking lots of paint out. So I don't know. It's kind of a mystery. I think the one thing we can all agree upon is these are really good pots. Like they don't really dry out. And you wonder.
I always have an easy solution to the Vallejo stuff if I get too much out. I grab one of my P3 pots, scoop it up, and put it into a similar color.
Okay.
Never lost. Okay. And since it's kind of almost semi-dry, it goes in and it just, like you said,
becomes part of the Borg of the P3 pot. Just this assimilation.
They shall be assimilated.
Resistance is futile.
Along? Yeah.
You are one of us now, and you will last forever with us. So Chris says Green Stuff World has been marketing them for a few years. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So like Tim said, somebody did catch on, and has it been actually now?
And it would be Green Stuff World. They're always accused of copying people's ideas and selling them.
Well, if it works, you know.
Smart, yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So
the mention of pig iron reminded me to check and see if pig iron production was still in business. FYI, they are. Did you know that, Dan? I think you referenced them earlier.
Pig iron.
That
was it you that referenced
Flying Pig?
Flying Pig.
Oh, maybe said something. Maybe it
We're
was
talking about a pig iron paint color, I thought.
Yeah, that's a P3 paint color I like to use. And I think
it's a nice dark material.
This company's name. Now, are they a paint company that has a whole line of paints? Is that what he's getting at?
I don't know.
I'm not familiar with Pig Iron Productions.
Me neither.
That's Mel, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Mel knows stuff.
He'll comment. He's good. Yeah. He'll comment about that. You asked him a question, right?
I want to know. Is that a line of paints?
Or a company that does what? Yeah.
Warmut says, the ice ball maker mold tray. So that's, I guess, another name for them for $8 on Amazon. The ice ball maker.
Well, the ice ball makers will be a little bit bigger than this.
Yeah.
But that might even be better.
Well, it might work.
That might be better.
Why don't you get one and stick your finger in it and tell us how deep it is?
So what did you say that was? A ball maker?
It's a
ice ball maker.
Okay.
But not steel balls.
No. Tim's got the patent on those.
Just the BB ones, though.
Balls.
No, we haven't been drinking tonight. Yes, officer.
Wow. Apparently, we don't need to.
No.
It's miniatures. Oh, okay.
Miniatures.
Okay.
Pig iron.
Huh. Not sure.
What do they do? They do like a whole line of miniatures, like historicals, fantasy, that sort of thing.
We don't want to have to Google it ourselves.
Mel says they might have paint, but mostly minis. All right, guys. Are you guys up for doing the next topic tonight? Like, are you guys good for maybe just going just slightly past 10 tonight and doing the next topic or no?
Fire away.
For next time.
I'm good. Doesn't matter. Whatever. What time is it?
Well, it's 9:43.
I'm good. Whatever people want to do.
I'm fine to do it, but I don't want to.
Well, it's probably not.
Who's going to be the tiebreaker? Is it? Do you guys? Well, Tim, you were fine to do it too, right?
Oh,
Rusty, are you okay to stay on?
Tim's a lot later than we are.
Well, it's
Just
11:43
minutes.
where I'm at.
Yeah, he's in the big boy time zone.
Rusty,
Yeah,
are you
well,
good to stay on for a few more
we go a
minutes?
little
Or?
longer. I'm wide awake. I'm ready to
Okay.
roll.
He's not answering. Rusty's mad.
I'll just ask a question of Mel. Hey, Mel, look outside. Can you see the moon?
So like a
Oh,
full moon.
Do you got to
Oh,
get going,
that's
Rusty?
right.
Well, the lunar eclipse starts at 11 here.
At
Oh,
11?
let's
Oh,
save
and
it.
that's in 15 minutes. Okay, well,
Let's
we can
save
do
it
it
for next time. That's
Let's save it
Okay.
for the next one then. Yeah, that's
That'd be
cool. Because
fine.
I know you said you wanted to do that. I forgot. I didn't know when it started. So, all right, cool.
during sometime in the night.
Yeah, the lunar eclipse goes from 11 o'clock to 5 a.m.
Well,
But we had clouds
That's-
moving in, so it's like, so I'm asking Mel to go look outside and see if he can see the moon or not, because it was starting to get cloudy when the show started.
well, we'll just stick
save it.
to the regular time. And Mel says that it's sci-fi odds and ends and bits.
oh,
Oh, okay.
how fun is that?
That's the Iron Pig or whatever it was.
Yeah,
Big iron. Yeah.
pick
Pig,
iron.
Iron pig. Yeah.
Jeez,
Iron Pig. I think the paint topic, though, that was actually really a lot of discussion tonight for something that is just so basic to what we do. And we've had this discussion before. It really elicited a lot of conversation. Some conversation that we didn't expect, necessarily. But,
facts. Yeah.
good nonetheless, like somewhat, some laughs, I suppose.
Well,
They
it's something
probably
that,
have left people with more questions than answers.
Yes.
so you can see the moon. All right.
You gonna take pictures, Rusty, with your?
I will
Telescope?
attempt to. I usually do.
I expect high quality footage. You're my eyes and ears of the sky during late
You
hours
already
of
got
the
the
night.
big telescope set up.
No, I won't take that. That's too heavy yet. I'm still in weight restriction.
Oh, okay.
Well, just wake your wife up. She'd be happy to do that.
It's 100 pounds, just 120 pounds for the mount alone. She'd look at me and go, yeah.
Wow.
She's no wuss.
So you like your own observatory,
Yeah.
Yeah, why
like
don't
out in
you?
the backyard, like with a big round roof.
I don't know why he doesn't just put a skylight in his house and then it lifts a platform that lifts up so he can just. I mean,
Hey, if I won the lottery, the first signs that I had won the lottery because there'd be a dome on my house.
well, I'll keep an eye out.
Rusty's telescope actually has his name after it, just like the James Webb telescope. It's the Rusty Grunwald.
Or the
telescope.
Hubble telescope.
It's actually named.
The Rustwald.
The rusty razor. There you go.
We'll get it patented before everybody takes the name.
Yeah, it's kind of harkens back to the days when I was in the university, and we had a 16-inch reflector up at the university, and I would use that all the time. I had the keys to the observatory and do my research and all that fun stuff when I was getting my degree. So, yeah, it was always fun. You think that it's like imagine what a 16-inch one was. That thing was huge.
I took an astronomy class.
Tim has just got his mind in one place tonight. Like
No, I'm just thinking if somebody could splice a few of these comments together, they're going to go, what the hell kind of show do they have?
Yeah.
Tim's like, did you know that when you retire, the entire time from when you were like in 6th grade until now just disappears and you're right back to the same humor?
Yes. Start regressing.
Every single one he catches, it's like he said 16 inches.
I'm 12. I can't help it. I'm going to be 7 in a couple years. I'm still 12 years old on the inside.
Oh, 12 years old. Okay.
I'm
60 going on 12.
Yes. Yeah. I got a really immature sense of humor.
Well, I must admit, I got very animated when it came to the shaking the paint pot, and that's gonna live. I'm gonna live with that for a little bit. But
We'll make sure we bring it up every show.
yeah, exactly. Palmer, no, don't shake that paint too hard there.
So how's that paint shaker look again?
What did you call that paint shaker?
Mm-hmm.
What's that? Did you say
Is that the
something?
two-fisted paint shaker?
If you don't believe us, Palmer, just show that to your wife and ask her what she thinks. And I'm sure she will give her honest opinion about never letting that video see the light of day.
The video's going up. It's not. I'm not deleting it. It's gonna stay.
Well,
Good. Then I can sneak a clip out of that and post it.
that could be a meme all its own.
Oh gosh, it's gonna go viral.
And there's a reason why they say is this suitable for children or not? No.
Well, Tim
There is
said he's
audio. I
operating
did
on a
say shaking the paint pot. I think that I was very clear, but I get what you're saying.
Tim said he's operating on a 12-year-old like age bracket anyway, so it's got to be at least good for that. 12 and up.
You scared me there. You scared me there, Dan. Wait. I'm glad you finished that sentence. It's like, no. No, I'm not.
All right.
That's how
God.
rumors get started, Tim. You got to start your own legend. Start your own legend.
The man, the legend, Tim.
Oh,
Tim. We all know it.
Chewy.
Oh, Lordy.
I don't know if I could have handled this show if I'd have came in from the beginning. I'm glad I was a little late.
Yeah. Probably right.
Whew.
I forgot to ask.
It's like, I think I need to take a shower after this show.
Take a shower.
I feel so dirty.
I bet Palmer might have to take a shower as well.
I have to just repeat to myself over and over. I said I was shaking paint pots. I said I was shaking paint pots. I am
Yeah.
okay.
You might have to defend that one to the family. If the family sees this, they're going to say, "Oh, Palmer, don't
You
ever
want to
do
create your own reality. That's fine, Palmer.
that." Oh man.
So,
Context is important, folks.
yes, it does.
Yeah,
what
but
the teacher
no
says in
meme
6th
ever
grade.
exists in context.
What's that?
I said no meme ever exists in context.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
true.
That's what makes them good.
Yes. They must be taken out of context.
Yep. Absolutely. That's the whole point.
Oh well.
Oh, God.
I missed whatever you guys were working on. What are you guys working on?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know what I'm working on.
Terrain?
No, come on. That was last year. That's so last year. This year, there you go, Tim. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep. Still
I didn't
progressing.
get my horse archers finally done.
Oh, you
good.
did. The ones you had in
Nice.
the picture the other
The
day?
one I've had on the table for 2 weeks.
The one you kind of partially had done on Monday?
There you go. Looking good.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, you got them done. All right.
Nice color. Like
Well, they're kind of like a generic sort of step warrior type of unit from Victrix. So some of them I wanted to have color, and some of them I didn't, and
it. Mm-hmm.
because who knows, I may get another box, and because depending on what I want to use them as, but game terms don't be the same.
What are they? I'm an idiot with ancients.
Basically Scythians.
Okay.
They were
High steps of miniature.
kind of they were a Caucasian steppe people.
Okay.
Think of Mongols,
Master.
but white.
Yes.
And they were the Stairmasters. Step people.
The steppe
Yeah.
people.
getting their steps in.
I showed earlier what I'd finished, Tim, just more dropship space stuff. But what I'm doing right now is I'm doing some 15 mil fantasy, and it's actually. Did you play AD&D? Like, did you play Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, I played it a couple of times, not a lot.
Not a lot. Well, these are toad people. There's going to be an army of toad people, but they're 15 mil, so it's kind of hard to see up close. But they actually look. Actually, I didn't show them earlier, but I'm doing like they're all different sculpts. They're splintered light, and they look really pretty cool. Yeah, they look pretty cool actually, and so we're playing AD&D battle systems, and I'm doing we're doing 15 mil. So I'm doing 3 to a base and 1 to a base because you basically put them all together in combinations of larger bases and smaller bases so you can pull the guys off. And that's what I'm doing now. And then I've got a bunch of other 15 mil too.
How do you paint them, Palmer? Do you put them on what are you putting them on to paint?
I haven't gotten that far, but I guess
okay.
What I'll probably do, I think I'm just going to put them on their bases and sand them, and then just do it that way. Because to be quite fair, like on a 20 by 20, there's plenty of room to hold and to paint. And then also I've got a 20 by 60 for 3, which is just to be fine, just to put the sand on and then just paint it up. And so that's what I'm looking at doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Splintered light.
955.
Have you done splintered light before?
This is my first time.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a bunch of splinter light stuff.
They're actually really nice sculpts. I mean, for 15 mil, like this is like a mage with like a kind of like a I don't know, some sort of crystal ball in its hand, and see if I can pull back. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. There. And it's really, for 15 mil, they're really beautiful sculpts.
How do they sell them in packs of what?
7? Is it 7?
I'm just going to their website now.
You can buy battalions or war bands. And I bought these in a war band. And so there were like anywhere it's between 15 and 30 or 20 or something. And so it's you get a fair bit at once.
So they're saying 15/18 mil. What do you think?
Let me actually, I've got.
No, that you mean like scale?
Yeah, it says 15
more closer to true 15s.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Since it says that on their website, I was just.
I got one guy here that some of them are just literally leaping, and so like they're like hopping like these frogs. They're literally like leaping.
Oh, freaking cool!
Yeah, and those ones are probably closer to 18, but actually that's jumping and totally stretched out is like 20, but it's like elongated. But if you look at somebody standing up normally, it is probably 15, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. I could see being close though to 18.
Do they have sales, or do you just order? I mean, some places they're known to have their big sale.
Every once in a while they'll send you an email saying, "Hey, we've got a sale going on," and if it's your first time you set up for an email, they'll send you a discount code to use with your first order.
Splintered light. What was that? What's that other 15 mil one that you use? It's not. What's the other one?
I do.
You and Mel order from.
Well, let's see.
What's that one? You were ordering lots.
Battle Valor guy.
Yeah, Battle Valor games, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Okay, that's what I was like. Because they do that too, where you'd sign up and you'd get like this discount.
Yeah, and every once in a while they have a sale go on, and you get stuff, and it takes forever to get it. But
yeah, who cares though?
It took us
12,
almost 3 months to get our last order.
Yeah, I remember. But you guys put pretty sizable orders in. At least I remember when you were doing that a couple years ago.
And then Old Glory has the Black Raven.
Yeah, that's right. Those are cool from the ones I saw that you had. Here it says, like, I was looking at the Undead Splintered Light. It says packs of 12 with 7 different poses. These are the undead. I just happened to click on.
Yep.
And they're regularly priced $9 for 12.
Yeah.
I like the variety of poses. That was the reason one of the reasons I picked Old Glory 15s for the ACW is not boring painting these. There's so many different sculpts. It looks cool. You know, they're not all just standing there doing the same pose. And then it's fun to paint because they have different equipment. They got coats or different hats or no hat so anyway, keeps it fun if you're painting large armies.
This guy, this particular pose even has, like, with the frog, like I don't know what you call underneath the throat where they kind of hangs down.
Where their air pocket is.
Yeah, it just looks so cool.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah, they look really cool. You know, the other thing is, like, it's really nostalgic for me with the D&D because they used to have the old modules, and there's some with, like, the toads on the front, like the toad men, like, you know, attacking.
Yeah, there was
warriors.
one. What was the Lost Temple of? What was that one? But it was all about the frog people. No, dwellers of the Forbidden City.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
I have that module. Yeah,
and that's what I think of when I think of these guys.
Yep, I would agree. Or what color are you going to paint them? Like greens or something? Funky?
Yeah, greens, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
dark green on the top, and then like kind of a light green on the
cream yellow,
like cream green on the stomach.
Need to get you a great big slan model to put in the army. Like
that would be cool.
No joke.
That's what cool. I thought of when I thought of this mage. I thought of the slan mage.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I was thinking of.
Or get yourself a big giant stork or a herring.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's out hunting.
That'll be the dragon. That'll be their dragon, or that's what's hunting them.
Because you always think of like a heron going out there and they're like hunting frogs. Like,
yeah. That's their biggest nightmare.
Did you see what I was working on tonight, Tim?
No. I saw you moving and painting, but I couldn't quite see the. Wow, that's a fairly large piece of terrain. Wow.
That's a monster, huh?
There you go.
Yeah.
Bolt action, maybe?
Bolt action, Lord of the Rings, Frostgrave, you name it. Anything that's going to be used for it. And it's like pieces. So.
And that's one you printed out?
Yeah, it took me a week to print this.
Wow, a week.
Yeah, it's like this base piece right here.
Mm-hmm.
That's 4 pieces that I had to put together. And each piece took about 22 hours for each piece of print. And it's like each one of these took about 15 to 18 hours. There's 2 pieces.
Just think how much a piece like that would cost if you went out to buy it nowadays.
It'd be like a $200-300.
Yeah.
Which is kind of ridiculous, but you know.
Yeah,
not cheap. Now, if somebody that had a print farm or something, might be able to crank them out fast. But
well, I don't know if Chris is still on. We've only got 2 people in the room now. A lot of people have taken off. I don't know if Chris is still on, but he's got a print farm.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He's who. Whenever I have like a fairly complicated 3D print question, he's my resource that I ask.
Oh, cool.
He's really knowledgeable.
He is super knowledgeable. Yeah.
And it's like when you're printing these large pieces, the bigger the plate, the better, because it's like the more I have to angle my stuff like more like that to fit it on the plate, and that takes more time because you have to grow it that more. Now, if it was more angled like that, that would cut your time down.
Okay.
So when you got the bigger your plate, the more you can get it to lay more flat on.
Oh, you got Tim tickled again.
Well, I just saw one of these comments. The show was fine until Tim joined.
Just saying. Anyways,
coincidence.
I think we've hit the expiration point.
Yeah,
the 2-hour mark.
Yes.
There we go.
Rusty's gonna go and take a look at the night sky.
Howl at the moon.
Bring break out the old camera and everything and take some photos.
Good for you. Cool. Share 'em.
All right.
Hopefully, Mother Nature cooperates.
Yeah, I hope it's not very cloudy out that way.
Yeah, we're supposed to get big storms rolling in
Yeah,
tomorrow.
storms
so
tomorrow night. This is crazy.
probably about
Thunderstorms.
between 4 and probably closer to 5 for you, but
Yeah, 5 to 6 is our window, but
Yeah.
the better chance of severe weather is just east of us, more towards you.
yeah, it's like you go into Eastern Iowa, we're talking tornadoes,
Yeah,
80
we
mile
don't-
an hour winds, that type of straight line.
We don't
winds.
need that, so we didn't order that.
No, won't be so bad because we don't have any leaves on the tree to have drag so things snap off. But that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll live. Yeah,
Another show in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
We'll have to. We have the one topic, and we'll see whether we do another one as well, or I don't know,
Yeah.
secondary one. But sounds good.
All right.
I would say overall, still a very good show. Lots of great discussion on paint, and one for the
Yeah,
the
that was
ages.
good. Yeah, a little bit of a.
Okay, everybody.
all
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Hi,
Okay.
everybody.
See you in a couple weeks.